Okay, students. So today we have a privilege to have Abhilasha Abhinav, who has secured rank 18 in Civil Service Examination 2017. So it's a privilege to all of us that she is with us today. And one thing I would like to simply mention about Abhilasha, that she has been our student, especially in current affairs class and also in the test series. And she was one of the most eager students to learn any new thing during our class sessions. So we were pretty sure about her rank, but I would like you to know that how was her journey, how she struggled. She was a bank professional, so how she struggled during that time, and finally she got through at this particular very privileged rank, that is rank 18th in Civil Services Examination 2017. So I would like all of you to know the story of Abhilasha from her own mouth. So Abhilasha, can you please tell the story?
Thank you, Amit Sinha. Hi all, this is Abhilasha Abhinav, All India rank 18, UPSC 2017. Before that I was 308 rank in 2016. My journey began in 2014 when I gave prelims. I was not that prepared in prelims examination. That time I was in Pune and I was in IBM software research labs. So I was a technical person, not very interested in prelims preparation, but however, I gave it a try, and since I was not prepared at all, I flunked. Then I realized that had I prepared something very seriously, might be UPSC would have been something that I could have cleared. I discussed with my family and friends, and they suggested that you better go to Delhi because you have got an environment here. Pune, you hardly get something to know. So then in 2015 I took a break. 2015 or 16 prelims before that, 1 or 2 months before, I was introduced by one of my relatives to AAI. Amit Sir and Alok Sir, and at that time prelims preparation in AA was in full swing, and I had just come to Delhi, so I did not have that privilege of joining the regular classes as such, and I was in bank, so I was a working professional throughout. So I came in contact with Sir, and I asked him that prelims is around the corner and I have not prepared much, so give me some help regarding it. So he gave me some topics that you can prepare India Yearbook, you can prepare current affairs, and he gave me a bird's eye view of what you can prepare in prelims as such in lesser period of time. Luckily I cleared prelims, and then I realized that okay, now mains is something for which writing practice is a must. So then I realized that the important part was writing practice, so I went for mains test series in AAI in 2016. That year I secured 308 rank. My written marks, the mains marks was very nice. I had done the GS written test here, so the marks were good. Still I wanted to become an IAS, so I went for 2017 attempt. I rejoined AA with the same mains test series, and again it came with 18th rank. So in the entire preparation, since I was working, I didn't have the privilege of joining regular classroom coaching, but test series, regular guidance by AAI, by Amit Sir, by Alok Sir has always been part of my journey. In the mains test series that I joined in AA, whenever I used to not score very good marks because I was not a very good scorer from day one, so I used to sit with Alok Sir and Amit Sir and ask him that what do you look actually for answers in the copy? You just tell me those things and I'll try to put that in my answer sheet. So he was honest enough to say that we look for charts, we look for diagrams, we look for some factual aspects in your answers so that your answers become wholesome. So I incorporated his advice in each and every test series that I gave. So I joined his test series, and with his guidance I think that I was able to secure good marks in 2016 mains as well as in 2017 mains. And since mains becomes an important aspect of your selection, so that's what I've been recommending, that go for a good test series. So a good guidance of a good teacher and a good test series is what I can vouch for when you are going for UPSC. And as I'm reiterating it again, I could not join regular classroom coaching, but those people who have got the privilege of time, they can go for it definitely, because it saves a lot of your effort and a lot of time. If you have got a good guidance by a good teacher, you can save a lot of your effort. So this is my journey regarding UPSC.
And one more thing I would like to say to all of you, that this time only when she got a call for the interview, she was slightly nervous that how to handle this time interview. I get into the training process of IAS, how to handle it. So a day I remember when we both were there, we are Alok S. So she came along to this old Anand center. And we asked her to, okay, just relax, stay relaxed, come with us. We went to the nearby pizza shop.
Yeah.
So we stayed there for 1 hour.
Yeah.
So we tried to convince her from every possible means that you don't worry, you have all the talents to qualify this examination. And moreover, as far as the interview is concerned, now you are more polished, more trained, because now you are already an IAS officer. So you should not be bothered about much and what questions can be asked to you. Simply go and present yourself honestly. This is what you are. If they are willing to take you, they will take you. If they are not, well and good. Well and good, because you are already into IAS, so nothing will going to fall short below that. So afterwards, she became comfortable, and perhaps that might have played a role also in her final success. I don't know exactly what actually is the score of her in the interview. Still, the interview must have also played a very significant role in her final success of rank 18th. Alright, that's what
I would like to add in this that in this 2017 attempt, before the interview, as Amit said, since I was undergoing Indian Revenue Services training, so I did not have those leave privileges so that I could have joined multiple mock interviews. I did mock interviews in 2 or 3 places, but I was having scarcity of leave, so I could not come to Delhi frequently for the mock interviews. So I used to call Amit sir for discussing questions. So this is one part he has missed. I used to call him for discussing questions. That okay, if this question is asked, what should I say? And he used to guide me, pinpoint me regarding it. Alok sir told me that it is the etiquettes that play a very important role. So this is one thing I realized this time, which I did incorporate in my interview this time. I secured 187 rank, 187 marks. 2016 I had 175. So this jump, I think,
yes, must have
somewhere or the other. It is because of the guidance only. So interview has played an important role. In fact, everybody as an aspirant knows this, that interview does play a very important role as far as rank enhancement is concerned. So I had that privilege of having somebody as a guide so that I can call and ask. So that personal guidance did play a lot of role in my written as well as in my interview.
And one more thing I would like to simply say that she was introduced to all of us, to both of us basically by Mrityunjay sir. And Mrityunjay sir, when she introduced her, of course she is actually sister of Mrityunjay sir. So we also started treating her just like our younger sister. So whenever we used to guide her, not as a student, rather as a sister. So that was an emotional attachment with her. And that emotional attachment started right from 2016 onwards. That's still there. So that's what I wanted to add on. This is not a student of ours, this is a sister of ours. Okay. So that way only we are really very, very helpful. We're thankful to the God that at least our efforts have been given us a good result in terms of our rank 18th this time.
Definitely, sir. I'll just add one thing to it, that although I could not join the regular classroom and all, but I used to call for India Yearbook and everything, that what to study and what not to. Because I was working, so I did not have that privilege. But I used to call, okay, what to study in India Yearbook, and then used to tell me that, okay, these are the topics you can. So I have been lucky enough to get those kind of guidance also. One phone call away guidance, that one can say.
So, Abhilasha, first of all, let me congratulate you. AIR-18 is no mean feat, especially in civil service examination.
Thank you so much.
So, the first question that comes to my mind, after hearing your background is that you were working.
Yeah.
So, for a working professional to, leave a job and prepare for an exam like IAS, where, the success rate is very less, and, it requires a lot of hard work and a lot of commitment.
Yeah.
So, what made you opt for, a career like IAS and then leave your job? What was the motivation behind that?
First I'd like to correct, I never left my job. 2012 I had graduated, and from then till now I have been a working professional. It was the year and the leave that I have taken. I could never leave my job, so I would not have that privilege of having 24 hours preparation. So that's one thing. And as far as the motivation was, my father was into services, so that was like a childhood influence that I had. So that was there, but it got propelled in 2014 when I flunked in prelims. So I realized that okay, I could do it. But since I did not study, I did not do it.
So, other pertinent question, which is there in the mind of all the aspirants, those, who have been appearing for the exam and those who are planning to prepare. So, there's one very personal question, apart from the studies aspect, is what was your reaction, when you saw your name in the final list and finally you secured AIR-18, you fulfilled your aspiration with which you came? So,
Well, I was delighted. I was on cloud 9, that's what I should say. But having said that, I would say that the first time when I got selected in 308, that came as a bigger surprise to me. When I say this usually to people, they are like, no, you are just taking footage for it. But it's not like that. It is just this, that when you make your name in that devilish merit list, even for any rank, it is the one thing that feels you feel like you have got salvation.
Yeah.
After that, it was rank improvement. So 18th is a big feat. Definitely, as you said, I was on cloud 9 because I had achieved what I always wanted to. But the surprise element came in 2016 when I cleared it. 18th was a bigger surprise, a pleasurable, delightful surprise. But 308 would always be more nearer to me because it was the first time that it happened. So I was like, suddenly I became very famous in 308. So that is one thing I would say.
So the nature of the exam, the UPSC exam is such that it is very dynamic. So, whatever has happened in the previous prelims, you cannot be sure that, the same questions or same type set of questions will appear. So the exam is very dynamic. And, textbooks, they are static, which although are very, very important for the exam. But do you think that the internet, studying on the internet, relying on the internet, it can, be helpful in cracking an exam like civil services?
Yes, definitely. Internet plays a huge role. In fact, it played a huge role in my preparation, as I said. That when I started, since I was always into office and work, so I did not have the privilege of going into classroom. So online platforms became an easy, accessible media for me. Even Hindu newspaper that people usually use in this examination, I had the e-version of it. So I had that app of Hindu and I used to devote my time in traveling and used to study Hindu paper. So it is easier as a platform. Online media, there are a lot of platforms right now which cover the syllabus very well. They have got very nice videos also, presentation also. So for any person who is not able to come to any classroom, they can easily approach such kind of online platforms. The outreach is bigger, especially for those who cannot come to Delhi, especially for preparation. The outreach is really bigger. So for that, it is a handy and good material. That's what I can say.
So our endeavor at NeoStencil.com is also, to connect best of the teachers with those in the remote areas, in the hinterlands. Even Alok S's test series is available on NeoStencil. So, our endeavor is constantly to reach out to those people, so that they can access the best classes. So, I hope that online platforms, like they're playing a huge role in today's educational landscape. They have been of some help to you, you've used online platforms for your preparation and, they help you in some way or the other. So, one pertinent thing that every student has in mind, because they study from different teachers, various teachers, and teachers have a big role in somebody's success. So I would like you to ask that what was Alok sir's role in your success, and how do if you just could put it into words, that how today if you've achieved rank 18, what has been sir's role in that success?
See, one part of this entire syllabus is culture, which is I think the most dreadful part. So Alok sir had covered that initially for me. So this is one thing that has happened from 2016. Apart from that, not as a teacher but more as a guide. When you have got small problems, as a guide, when you have got somebody in any form, like I had Alok sir and Amit sir, but any person or any student, if he has got a guide in any form, it plays a huge role because it is the self-belief that keeps you preparing for this exam. So in that way, I would say that Alok sir has always been a believer in me. I remember when I came for interview and I said, sir, when I mock interview le lijiye, he said, koi zarurat nahi hai, ho jayega. So he was more into this thing, in ho hi jayega. So I had that confidence from him. I can say that optimism, that energy, that good energy that flows. That was one thing that I got from him.
And Alok sir, just you could say a few words about how Abhilasha, how Abhilasha was as a student. Now everybody would know her as an officer, but only teachers can tell, how the person was as a student. So if you could say a few words.
I remember when she came to me for her first class, 2015 or 16? 16. And she had no idea about civil services, but she still was saying, she was insisting that I would qualify. And what I need is some history and some current affairs. That's it. I will manage everything. So the best part of Abhilasha Abhinav is that she is very confident, very frank, and very laborious. People cannot judge her right from her very hardworking, very humble also. You can read her that she is very confident, she is very arrogant, but she is not. What I realized, she is very confident, very humble, very hardworking, And no, we knew that she would be in top 20, top 10, and she finally did it. Last time also she qualified, but we were not satisfied with the result because her writing is really good. We, as a teacher, as you told us, keep to tell us to tell you about her. So as a student, she is very good writer, very hard work. Got is good. So 18 ranks she deserves, probably the more than 18.
That was a good quality of her, that she has a sort of a acumen to express anything and everything in a language. So that quality was there with her, and for that one we were pretty sure that she has that ability to qualify this examination. Because if a person is having the extempore writing style, extempore writing quality, he or she deserves to be into service. She was actually having. So we realized it at the outset only. She is actually a talented person. Only thing that we need, that keep pumping her, keep supporting her, she will get me qualified.
We never treated her as a student.
That's what I said. Really do. Of her, whether I was engaged, busy in my family work, I used to leave that, I used to go and meet her. पहले priority इसका है कि इसका career है. If I can support her, maybe a year she will be in top 20. And finally she turned out to be.
And so last question, like she is from Bihar, so I would request her to tell some like those freshers from Bihar.
So people from Bihar who are aspiring to get into civil services, but they are still facing a lot of crises or difficulties in Bihar.
So how
can they?
I feel that regions like Bihar and UP, civil services is in their blood and dreams. First of all, everybody aspires there for civil services. Even if one is having a hefty package in IT industry like me, then also one comes to the circle of life makes him or her comes to civil services only. For aspirants of Bihar and anybody who is aspiring for civil services, it is just believe in yourself. First, make a motivation within yourself that you are ready to do it, because it is your hard work first of all that would matter. Nobody would come to motivate you. That is an external influence that happens, but internally it is you who should be very sure that I am going to do it, because it is your hard work, your labor and your perspiration that would keep you sustained in this very tremendously, I think, tiresome process of UPSC. The entire exam is itself 1 year. So it requires a lot of self-motivation. And once you are self-motivated, anybody around you would sense it. Like I had the luck of my family, my friends, my teachers who sensed it and they propelled me to work hard. So first of all, it is your motivation. If you badly want it, just believe in it, work for it, work hard for it. If you don't have coaching access, then go for offline materials. They have got courier facilities, online materials are also there. If you are lucky enough that you have got access, like I had access of AA, I had access of other coaching and written materials in Delhi. If you have that, then go for it or get it couriered somewhere. But it is more about how badly you want it. Nobody is going to come and say that you study yourself. It is very easy that you can sleep in your room, and when a call from your father comes, you can say that, I was studying. Nobody is seeing you. So it is very easy to fool anybody outside. It is as good as how honest you are for it, because I was a working professional, I did not need it, this entire thing, but still I wanted it, so I went for it. And there are humongous number of stories in the market of the same who really wanted it and they made it with scarcity of materials also. I am fortunate to come in Delhi. There are people who are in Northeast and other places where civil services are not that famous. Then also you have got toppers. So it is more about how motivated you are. So anybody who is motivated can go for it. Just believe in yourself and go for it.
So in the end, Abhilasha, we just like to again congratulate you, the entire NeoStencil team as well as our partners, Institute AI, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors as an officer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.